Hello my beautiful friends, thanks so much for tuning in. I am finally taking the time to do this video for you mamas. I know some of you have been waiting for it. I did this unit study way back in March, and I want to just emphasize why it took, explain why it took me so long. So when I started this unit study, I had planned to stay maybe 2 weeks on it. So I was planning around February, right in the middle of my Titanic unit study, and I had gathered all my resources and so forth. And so when March hit, COVID hit, and so I was just grateful to have something new to look forward to with the kiddos while we were in quarantine. And it was like the most intense quarantine that we had in March. It was the beginning, and so I was just so excited to have something to look forward to. And then what happened was I had worked on using 2 resources, and then it just kind of like exploded into like a 1-month unit study, because I found one of my favorite resources that I'll share with you here in just a few minutes. So anyways, it took me this long for 2 reasons. One, because of COVID, I was not as organized as I usually am with the unit study to putting my thoughts on paper and stuff like that. So it was overwhelming to try to figure out how to share all the things that we did with you guys. And number 2, it took me this long because I also had a kitchen renewal happening in May, and when I wanted to share with you guys, it just didn't work out. So here I am now in August, and I'm gonna share with you my India study, one of my favorites so far, and I'm gonna share all the fun things that we did, so stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I want to share with you guys is where I get the idea for the unit study, and I follow a curriculum called The Passport to Adventures. This is by the Wall Dog Way. I'm going to link the video, the initial video that I did down below. I talk about this in my channel a lot, and it's been part of my morning time basket for the last 2 years. So this was unit number 19, and it was on, it's called Tigers at Twilight, and the topic is India and tigers. And that's my base. This was like my base curriculum, how I got started with the idea, and to set up all my resources. Jessica does a really good job at putting it together for you so that you don't have to do more, but I like to do more. I like to just expand from there, but this is like everything laid out for you with like books, recommendations, activities, and so forth. So check out the link down below for the video to explain more about it. So that's my main resource that I use. And then from there, one of my best friends lent me her curriculum, Around the World with Picture Books by Beautiful Feet Books. It had a perfect unit on India, so I said yes. She sent me the books, and she gave me the curriculum, and she also lent me her son's little Indian outfit, which I was able to display it on our table. This was so cute. It was such a cute little element to our study. So those are the 2 main resources that I use. And then right about around week 1, I found another curriculum which I'm in love with, and I'm hoping to do another unit study on the next one. Jonah. Okay, so 3 resources that I use, which is why it just gets overwhelming on what I'm going to share, but I'm going to pick some of my favorites. As you saw, I just have a few things on the table that I want to talk about with you guys and share with you. And so let's go with week 1. And with week 1, what I like to do is the first day, I like to set up everything the night before so that I can do like a surprise reveal for the kiddos. So I do something like this for them, and I set it up really nice. And here's the Indian outfit. I have this chalkboard that my husband made for me, and all the books and everything and pictures and so forth. So I like to do that surprise reveal in the morning. And then one of the things that I use also is whenever I can, I use the How Great Is Our God, and then Indescribable. We love those 2 resources as our Bible time. And there is one here on pepper, on green pepper, and that's kind of how I started it. I started with talking about spices and different things like that. My kiddos love learning about the ghost pepper. And then my sweet friend Tanya from Project Happy Home here on YouTube, she sent me pictures of India from her family, and I loved it. I was able to display these on my my board and my display table. She sent me pictures of her family, which is so lovely to see, the clothing and the culture. And then, oh, I love the culture, the different materials. It was beautiful. So this is actually a pepper plantation. So we were able to talk about the pepper plantation in India and so forth. So we were able to learn that together the first day, and we started reading our Magic Tree House book and so forth. So the first week, I kind of spent it on the Passport to Adventures, reading about Jack and Annie's adventure in India. And I also had the boys do a flag of India with their Legos, which they really enjoyed. They enjoyed doing that. And then for week 1, we also started our journals. I wanted the boys to do a journal of what they learned in these little blank books by Target. This was such a little treasure to have because they put different things in here. We did copy work in here. We did some of the art. We pasted in there. But essentially copy work and just kind of talk about what we learned that day. So I want to show you here, for example, so I had J.L. write all the vocabulary and the meanings in one of his sheets and so forth. So I'll show you more about this in a few minutes, but then, okay, so that's week 1. Okay, so now we're on to week 2, and this is when I say my unit study just came to life. So I have a sweet friend that I met here on Instagram. Well, not here on Instagram, this is YouTube, but I met her on Instagram. And her name is Anu. She is from India. She actually lives in India, you guys. And I said, Anu, can we do like a call? Can we talk? Maybe a FaceTime? And she was so sweet and so willing. And she did like a virtual tour for us of her hometown in India. And she just showed us her home. And it was such a nice moment to share with my kiddos. They were able to talk to somebody that lived in India, that was living in India. They saw around the towns. And this was during the COVID-19. Like the heaviest quarantine of COVID-19, and she was so willing, such a sweet friend. Anu was so sweet, so I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know she's gonna be watching this video, and we talked for like an hour. It was just great. It was so great. She has a one kiddo that she homeschools, and it was just so sweet to get to know her more, and my kids actually experienced this. So this is like so cool for us to bring home this unit study. So that was week 2. So we started week 2 like that, and then we started to do our Around the World with picture books. We read some of the books. One of the books was Once a Mouse, and it talked about pride. So we had like a mini lesson on pride and so forth. And then on week 2, we did a few other things. I know that these flowers, the marigolds, was between week 1 and week 2. I did not document it well, but we also did marigolds, and we learned about marigolds, and we were able to display it on our week 3 tablescape. So let me just show you what we did for week 2. So for week 2, we spent some time learning about the lotus flower and reading about India, and then we also did some mapping. I have a geography book that I use, so we did some facts about India. The boys looked India up on the globe, and then we also used our map book, which we love so much. It's one of my favorite resources to have, and so we looked at all the different details about India and so forth. So they did some drawing and some writing on their journals about the lotus temple, and we learned about that as well. And I also wanted to read to you guys what they wrote about Anu. It says, today we met Anu. She lives in Mumbai, India. She taught us a lot about her culture. One thing I learned was that they eat dinner at 9 p.m. or around that time. She also told us about cows and that they are considered holy animals in India. And just like in PR, they have palm trees. So this is what they wrote in their little journals, as well as what about the call to Anu. So this is where I loved having the journal for this type of unit, so we could just look back and see all the fun things that we learned and so forth. Okay, so now on to week 3, and week 3 and week 4 was my last resource, which I just adore so much. It's called On Mission. It is an actual magazine for homeschoolers, homeschool families, and so forth. And it's created by Erin from Life Abundantly. She actually has a blog that I've been following for a long time, and I've used her resources before in my homeschool. So when I saw this magazine, it was on India, I went nuts. I had to get it. So I got the digital copy. She also has a printed copy, but I was able to print some lessons out that I wanted to incorporate in the last 2 weeks of our unit study. And this was so jam-packed of information. It was just so much more fun to dig into other things. But this magazine is intended for several weeks of study, and over here you're going to see all the subjects that it covers, like the exploring India, has geography, has some history, it has handicrafts, arts and music, food, it talks about food, and then a mom moment, which was coffee for me. So we just focused on animals. She has these little printouts, which I'll show you in a minute. I had all these books already, and then I just displayed a new table, and we focused on animals. So she has a few printouts of different animals. I laminated them, and so she has the name of the animal and then cards with the Indian name on that we had to match. So that was a fun little activity that the boys got to do. Then we just talked about the animals. We got to learn and watch a video about it. With this curriculum, there's so much more, but the On Missions is based on missionaries around the world, and this one is particularly on India. So we got to learn about Amy Carmichael, one of the missionaries for India. The missionary we focused on, there was a Torture's Lighter, I think it is called, a video that we watched on Amy. They also do the food aspect of India, and oh my gosh, so much. So we went nuts with this 3rd and 4th week, but this, like I said, this video will be so long if I tell you everything we did. But I also wanted to show you how she also includes these printouts for different instruments in India, and I found a YouTube video on the different sounds of these instruments, which I couldn't believe I found it. So every time I would give a card to my child, I would put the sound, and they would love it. They also documented this on their journals. We also did the mantra. Ooh, I'm gonna mess this up, but this is an Indian art that we got to do, and it also comes in the missions printout. This was a lot of fun. The kids loved it. You can't even tell which one is JJ. He loved it so much. This one is JJ's, which is my 5-year-old. They loved it so much. So we did this in 2 or 3 days as I was reading books for them and reading information with them. She also has these cute little paper dolls. All her magazine comes with like little dolls with different dresses, and you could actually change their outfits. I think there's 2 outfits per doll. So this is the little guy. I printed him twice, and this is the little girl. So cute. This is a cute little element to have. I love these little paper dolls. So JJ, essentially, he was the one that enjoyed these the most. There's also mapping and different activities that come in the On Missions magazine. So we just dove into all the activities that we could do for this unit study. The printouts comes again with the magazine. And since I got the digital, I just printed what I was gonna use because I already had spent 2 weeks on it, and I just wanted to just get more meat from the unit study, but also different stuff that we hadn't done. One of my favorite things was, hi Papi, we got to do these animals. This is actually from the 2nd week that we did, but I wanted to show you inside their journals. And we watercolored the pictures and then wrote a description about the animals. We learned about peacocks, and then endangered species, extinction. We talked about those different meanings. We also learned about the snake charming, which is something that they do in India as well. And the kids got to draw on it and just kind of talk about it. So yeah, so you guys, we did so much learning. I just wanted to talk about all the resources, everything that I use. I'm gonna include more pictures if I can. If I have time, I'm gonna include more pictures at the end of this video. But if you have any questions, don't forget to tag me or talk to me in the comments down below. I hope you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it.